There's an old legend buried deep in the heart of a forgotten European village. A door, ancient, heavy, made of black oak and bound with rusted iron. It stands alone at the end of a narrow stone corridor, hidden beneath what used to be a monastery. No one remembers who built it. No one knows what's behind it. But for over 500 years, no living soul has dared to open it. They say, on certain nights, you can hear soft knocking from the other side. Faint, like fingertips against the wood. And if you listen closely, you'll hear whispers. Voices speaking in a language no one understands. Villagers tell stories of those who tried to open it. Men who vanished. Women who lost their minds. And a priest who was found at dawn, kneeling before the door, eyes wide open, lips stitched shut. The monastery was abandoned. The stone walls crumbled. But the door remains, untouched, and waiting. I found this legend by accident, buried in the archives of an old travel journal dated 1884. The writer described how he followed the rumors to a half-forgotten village, and saw the door for himself. He never returned. And what's strange, the pages of his journal stop there. No farewell. No final words. Just a final, shaky line at the bottom of the page. It knocked, and it knew my name. The village itself barely appears on any map. Tucked away in a dense, misty forest, reachable only by a cracked dirt road that seems to twist and move on its own. Locals call it Velmont, though even that name feels like a whisper from a time long gone. No cars. No phones. No internet. The kind of place where people still gather around candlelight, and warn each other about the things that crawl after dark. I spoke to a man named Gregor, one of the last surviving elders. His face was a map of deep lines and sun-dried skin. Eyes clouded with age, but sharp, as if he could still see things no one else could. When I asked about the door, he grew quiet. His hands trembled. And then he said, "It was built to seal something in, not to keep us out." He told me of the old days, when the monastery was alive with chanting monks. One night they heard a sound from the crypt below. A voice. Calling each of them by name. One by one, the monks disappeared. Until only a single priest remained, praying day and night before the door, sealing it with ancient sigils and blood rites. Gregor claimed no one dares touch it now. Even the youngest children are taught to stay away. And if anyone asks why, the villagers will only say, "Because it's still listening." I stayed in that village for a night. And in the dead silence of early morning, I thought I heard a knock. I found an entry in a decayed church ledger. A name scribbled hastily beside a single word. Condemned. The name was Anton Varick. A heretic, an outcast, a man the villagers believed had made a pact with something older than God. Legend says one storm-heavy night, drunk on grief after the death of his child, Anton broke into the monastery ruins. He lit a single lantern and marched down into the crypt. Witnesses claimed the storm stopped the moment he touched the door. The air turned thick, and the ground itself seemed to hum. Anton whispered something, and the door unlocked itself. No key. No force. Just a willing hand. What came out, no one ever saw. But for days after, the village was filled with a thick, sour mist. Animals were found twisted and broken. Children spoke in voices too deep for their age. And Anton wasn't Anton anymore. Gregor told me his body was never recovered. But at night, when the wind howls against the hills, some claim to see a figure by the door. A man-shaped shadow, standing perfectly still. And if you listen closely, you'll hear it whisper your name. Weeks after Anton vanished, the village seemed cursed. Crops rotted overnight. Wells turned black. And the air smelled of rust and wet stone. But here's where it gets worse. A local schoolteacher named Elena Merrick kept a journal. In its final entry, dated October 23, 1721, she wrote about receiving letters. Letters that no one claimed to have sent. Each one was addressed by name, written in Anton's handwriting, and sealed with a symbol no villager dared to draw. Inside was a single sentence. You belong to me now. Those who received a letter vanished within 3 nights. Some were found drowned in dry wells. Others locked in their homes, eyes missing, doors bolted from the inside. But the creepiest part? The letters never aged. Centuries later, a restoration team from a nearby city claimed to have uncovered one of these letters, perfectly preserved, still damp with ink. And guess what name was on it? Mine. I held it. In this very hand. A letter centuries old, with my name written on it, in Anton's handwriting. And at that moment, I swear I heard something breathe behind me. After the letter incident, I left the village. Or at least I thought I did. But wherever I went, things followed. Rooms too cold for summer nights. Mirrors showing figures that weren't there. And once, I swear the reflection smiled back when I didn't. I tried burning the letter. It wouldn't burn. I buried it in salt. It surfaced the next morning at my bedside. Until one night, last month, I dreamed of Anton. Standing before the ancient door. His face blurred, like water in a cracked mirror. He pointed to the ground. And I woke up holding a rusted iron key in my hand. I don't remember how I got it. I don't know how it exists. But the key is here. And it fits a door. A door I found last week, in a building marked for demolition, miles from that village. Same markings. Same thick stone frame. Same carved faces, forever screaming. I unlocked it. And what was inside? I'm not allowed to tell you. But you should know this. The door never closes. Not completely. And now that you've heard this story, it knows your name too. Sleep well.